Memphis, 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 Memphis. Nothing but Memphis. Everywhere we go, it's Memphis. Memphis, Tennessee, the beautiful land in the world.
And I'm thankful for this guy who tweeted and said, I don't have that fire in my eye no more. That game right there was for him. That's what I do. I prove people wrong each and every night, and that's for him right there.
Hi, this is Tom Izzo at Michigan State, and you're listening to Grizz 901.
Yo, what up, Grizz Nation? Welcome back to Grizz 901 live post-game show presented to you by Bluff City Media. I'm your host, Daniel Greer, and we have Nate coming with us. He's not excited about this game, just as none of us are either. But if you could, be a friend, tell a friend, let them know what you're watching tonight. You're watching the post-game show here live, but also help us out. Hit that subscribe button if you don't mind. If you're over on Twitter, hit the like, hit the share. Also, we are going live right now on Instagram, and so that is a new thing that we are trying out as well. And so all of these different social media platforms, we're trying to find our way out in there. But go ahead and turn them all on. Why not? But tonight's show, it's all about, we're going to recap the game, and I promise you this one will be short. We could care less about this game because it's already still going on. We don't even know the final score. But in the second segment, I have a very, very sneaky good Grizz trivia question that you don't want to miss. We're also going to go ahead and look forward, and it's going to be all about Ja Morant. How does he integrate with this offense? How is all of this going to come together? In less than 24 hours, we have 12 back. And in that third segment, we're going to look ahead into the Pelicans, more on their side of things, and just kind of see how they look against this. I have a full sheet of notes for the Pelicans. I have it all down. I've actually done my preparation. So sit back and enjoy the show. Yo, Nate, what up?
That face sums it up. I can't even get myself off mute. I don't care about that game tonight. I am indifferent. That was a case of good players versus not good players.
Yeah, so absolutely. Shout out to Grabtown Central, man. One of the best Twitter. Well, I'm going to call it Twitter because that's what it is. One of the best Twitter accounts in Grizzlies Nation, Grizz Nation. And so shout out to you for sure, man. But yeah, it's straight pain, homie. But Hunt Jardina. Yeah, I think I said it right. Let's be real. Nobody thought we'd win anyway. So we all kind of know what we're looking forward to. And so that's really what we're all looking forward to, is talking about a lot of Ja Morant. We're going to get into this game in general because I think it has some interesting things. And I do want to talk about it. Obviously, the game is still going right now. The Grizzlies are losing 87-112. We continue to dribble off of our limbs, whether it is a foot, knee, arm, elbow, whatever. We dribble off of our own limbs. Ball goes out of bounds. The other team gets the ball. That's kind of how the night's been going. So that's really how you can sum up the entire game. But listen, I love the comments. So if you're on Twitter, we can now the platforms, they all connect. It's crazy. I get it. I don't know how they finally connected. And so we have a GG Jackson sighting. Shout out to GG finally. But listen, this game was ugly in the very beginning. Mm-hmm. And I'm not even going to ask you to come off the top rope because I know that you don't even want to climb up to the top rope to even give me your thoughts in general. But how do you think we played early on in this game from the guys that actually really matter?
I mean, it was good. It was a good start to the game. Honestly, The fact they were in it for as long as they were in it was a little surprising to me. Like I said, I'm not mad about this game at all. It was good players versus not good players. That sums it up, right? Even like Taylor's rotations, I wasn't mad at tonight. Like there's really not much you could do tonight. You know, I'm sure some people will find a way to say he should have played GG Jackson earlier because he's 2 for 3 from 3, and that 100% would have saved them. But generally speaking, like there's nothing to be mad. There's like one spot where he took Bane and Jaren out in the second quarter, and I was like, that's just not gonna work. But like, not much you're gonna do. That I have some individual player takeaways, but at the end of the day, it was one of those games where Xavier Tillman was throwing up threes, and I didn't even get mad. So it's just one of those games, right? So there's some individual things to take away. In general, I thought, listen, Bane can only do so much right now because they're focusing on him. Jaren can only do so much. I mean, it's just sort of one of those games. Good players, not good players.
Yeah, the second segment, we'll talk a lot about how that changes. I think that's the most interesting thing is how does that dynamic change once Ja gets there? And I honestly just want to talk about the first game, okay? Because once we get to the first game, then we'll have so much information that we can see that it will completely change. It'll completely flip because we'll actually see these guys. And we've seen these guys play together and bombs away. Jake LaRavia splashing from deep with the joggles on anyway. Man, look at that guy. The translucent guy himself.
The game's not on. So
it's not on.
I got the powerhouse Eagles versus Drew Lock and the not 49ers. I'm sorry.
So I saw you look up and I thought you were watching the Grizzlies game because I can see it down here. And he bombed one away. And I
made a declarative statement and I meant it. Granted, I've barely been watching the game since halftime. So it's just officially off now.
Yeah. All right. So 2 things I want to talk about tonight is one, listen, Jacob Gilliard just hit another 3. Jacob Gilliard, as much hate that I have shown to Jacob Gilliard, he is very undersized. He is a break glass in case of emergency guy. Yeah. He is not bad as your third point guard on a team who should not ever play.
Yeah.
He will be a guy that you can have as a 2-way for a long time that you trust that can come in, knock down some shots, be a really good passer, and somebody that you can depend on. He's not ever going to play his 50 allotted games that he's allowed, or he's not going to be a big portion of the 90 that you're allowed to play overall. That guy has played very well. He's definitely played above my expectations for him. He is not an NBA player, but if you have a guy like Ja Morant, you have a guy like Steve-O, and you have, Bane and Jaren, you have your normal horses. And for some reason, you need to offset a night that when Derrick Rose is actually healthy, you bring in a Jacob Gilliard to run you 12 to 15 minutes. That's going to be okay. And I think they found that where they know that, hey, they're comfortable now because D Rose is a really good backup if he can stay healthy. But any thoughts on Gilly?
Yeah, I mean, he's not an NBA player. You know what I mean? He's not an NBA player, right? It's one of those things where, honestly, depending on the Derrick Rose situation and Marcus Smart situation, I would imagine he gets some run.
Yeah.
Once Ja's back, right? Like, especially with the second unit, he can run an offense, right? He'll hit some perimeter shots. Now, he can't do anything inside the arc, right? No. It's just there's nothing he can do. But generally speaking, like, he can run an offense and he directs those guys well. If he wasn't so undersized, he'd be a really good backup point guard, I think. Good. But he's just so undersized. It's so tough. And my dad went to the game against the Rockets the other night. He was like 10 feet from Dylan Brooks. One of his buddy had some good tickets, was out of town, gave it to him. So super nice. Shout out to you, Mike. But he's like 10 feet from Dylan Brooks doing the pregame stare down. But he just texted me in the game. He goes, "Who's the little guy?" And I didn't have to wonder who he was talking about, right? Like, he literally goes, before I could text him back, he goes, "How tall?" Just like, and he's my dad's height. Like, that's what my dad's saying. He's like, "Hey, I did have an NBA dream. I could have lived out." That's right.
Funny.
My dad is also 5'8", but yeah, it's just one of those things where it's what it is. But I love watching him play, to be completely honest. I hate I have to watch him play, but I do love to watch him play because he plays with a bunch of heart. He knocks down a bunch of shots. Like, honestly, if someone's putting up a 3 and it's not Dez, I'd just as soon as it be Gilly as anyone else, right? Yeah. As far as who they're playing right now. So he's played really well. I think he's earned an end of the bench type spot. Like you said, break class in case of emergency, but he's not a guy I necessarily want to talk about tonight. I want to talk about the negatives. I want to talk about what sucks. So if we can get it over with, keep it short.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep. This is definitely not be the hour and 20-minute show that we had last. I really honestly, what'd you say?
If we go over 40 minutes, I'm gonna be mad at you.
So the last episode or show we had, that was probably my favorite show that we've had in a long, long time, if not my favorite. The chat was popping. It's not going to be tonight. We understand that. When the Grizzlies suck like this, usually the show isn't as big. So listen, we don't take offense to it, but we hope everybody, this gives everybody,
you a fan or not?
We hope this gives everybody a chance to come here, have some fun. We're going to keep it as light as possible, for sure. But we do want to get into a lot of the interesting comments. I think that one of the biggest things is I'm more excited about my trivia question because I think it is going to make you think, but then also make you feel dumb, which is that's my favorite thing, is making you feel dumb. We're not going to get into a lot of the numbers per se, because I don't think that it matters. There's a lot of wasted minutes just in general. Let's talk about another positive. Okay. I thought, in my opinion, Zaire had the best game he's had all season. And I know you didn't see the second half. No. I know you didn't see it at all. But I do think that Zaire played much better in the second half once everything calmed down for him. Shout out Chris. What's up, man? So any thoughts on Z?
I think you're wrong. I thought that Spurs Celtics those 2 games back to back were the best he's looked all season.
Okay.
When they played really well 2 games in a row against the Spurs and the Celtics, I thought that was the best he's looked. I think he looked fine tonight. Like I don't disagree. He had a good game and he looked good. I mean, boost that trade value. Let's go ahead and do that. But I'm unmoved by Zaire Williams.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want me to say to that. Like it doesn't matter. Just doesn't.
Right. Well, as Joshua Esplin said, low bar to clear for Z. Listen, I agree. It is a very low bar. I'm just saying, listen, 19, 7 and 5, 6 of 12 from the floor, 2 of 7 from deep. It's fine. Another positive I'm going to say, because I know Shane just said, just talked about, I guess this is Zaire Williams. I thought this was Vince Williams. I'm sorry. I saw the something W. Yes. So yes, a decent game once every 10 games. I want to talk about Vince Williams real quick. What I saw was a non-highlight game out of Vince Williams. But what I saw was a guy that is young in his career. He is the same age as these other dudes. His career, but also like the human, is similar age to all these guys. He looks like he's actually settled down in his career, and he seems like he's better and more confident on the floor. And it makes me, after seeing him with the starters for this long, and then seeing these other guys who are the role players, who are the backups, seeing them together on the floor, it makes me feel confident that the ceiling for him once Ja gets back is really high, because he's a really, really, really good defender, but also he just seems like he plays within himself.
Quit swinging it to guys in the corner. Yeah. That's my biggest. He did it again tonight. He swung it to X. I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Kill me now. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, I had to throw in the one negative because it brings up the next negative I want to talk about, but it's he has looked really good. Listen, I think everybody that's a Grizzlies fan is happy with what they've seen from him, and it all looks really good.
Yeah. And Henzon, I think that's your name. It's really small, and on it's smaller via Facebook. I can't see it as well. Maybe I am old. Did Ja come back out? Not yet. He's officially cleared now. Now the game is over. But we'll see him tomorrow night. And as Shane says, Vince's basketball IQ is double that of the other youngsters. I agree. Like, his basketball IQ just seems to be up there. And I like his game. I've always liked his game. Shout out to Ryan. And even I think Chip Williams said the best guy that the Grizzlies drafted. This is draft night. The best guy they drafted was Vince Williams. That was, I was like laughing. I'm laughing at, like, come on, man. We just went and got 2 first-rounders. They're right.
Shout out to Just Chip. Forget Ryan. For no reason other than to be a jerk.
Forget you, Ryan. All right, so what's your negatives? Go ahead. I'll let you lead the way.
Okay. One, speaking of basketball IQ, can Jaren please quit just pushing guys over? Like, and it doesn't matter again. Tonight,
he's so handsy.
Was such a wash. I'm just like so tired of watching him just push a guy over for no reason at all in the middle of a play. It's just like, dude, you're not a guard. Like, his first 2 fouls tonight, both of them were terrible. One, his hands are down low on a guard coming at him at the rim. If he stays high, he doesn't foul. The next one, he just shoves SGA over. It's like, dude, you just got to be smarter again tonight. Doesn't matter. Do not care about the game tonight. Just looking forward. I'm like, dude, learn. And the next one is, I'm tired of seeing Santi Aldama get balls ripped out of his hands. Like, dude, you've got to be strong. He went up for a rebound. Like, that was a strong rebound. And before I could say it, a guard came and took it out of his hands. I'm like, dude, it's just, if he's not getting buckets for you, he's just a total zero right now. And again, a lot of this is going to get better once Ja's back. But the main thing I got tonight is, man, X. What is going on? We got Memphis podcast down here beat me to the punch. But I don't think they waived the wrong guy. Let's be really clear about that. We've seen Tillman do a lot for this team, but I put out in the middle of the game, man. I'm like, he is a step behind on everything right now.
You think it's confidence?
I don't know what it is, to be honest. I really don't. Because it's like we've seen little bits of this. We're like, oh man, X didn't have it tonight. But now, like, he doesn't have it every night, man. It's like he's either getting it stripped, or he's slow going back up with it, or he is, not getting the board. He's losing a guy in a rotation. It's been rough. It's been rough. And I hope it's something that gets fixed really soon. Hopefully they let him actually play and they quit playing Jake LaRavia and stuff so he can actually play. But, it's one of those things where I don't know if it's injury or what. It's just been really bad. And to be honest, somebody's got to get his big ass out of the corner.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, dude. How many threes do you have to miss before it's like, quit shooting him? He's made one. It's the one against Golden State.
Right.
And ever since then, it's like, hey, he's a shooting. No, he's not. There's a reason he's wide open, man. He doesn't make them. And it's annoying because he can be so effective in the dunker spot.
Yeah. No, listen, I agree. Like, he's finding himself out of spots that he shouldn't be in. Like, he should not float out to the corner three unless he's feeling the rhythm, right? At that point, if it's me, you're not, like, that's not the first shot you're taking out of the game. Like, you're getting to the dunker spot, trying to get an easy layup. Like, you're trying to work yourself into the rhythm of the game in a sense. Yeah. And at that point, then you filter yourself out, because then you can space, because then they saw you make a couple, you can filter yourself out. Then you can draw a little bit of the attention. At that point, if they leave you open, you take the shot. But if not, then you have to go right back inside and then just go back to work where you were. But you can actually use a couple layups to bring the offense out to you, because just because it's a layup, I promise you, if your guy is guarding you and you hit a couple layups, and when you go out to the three-point line, your guy's going to go with you because he does not want to get scored on again. That's just the nature of it. Yeah. These guys have to think of it like that. You got to get yourself in rhythm. That's a professional basketball thing. That's a basketball thing on any level. These guys got to know. Chris thinks it's his knees, and it could be. Like, there's so much that could be within this guy. I do want to get back to some other comments that we had. But I do want to shout everybody for coming in here with the comments. As y'all know, this is our favorite thing, is to kind of read through the comments and talk through ourselves through that. But I do want to see what Grizz Girl said is she's disappointed and how the front office has kind of handled, and honestly, the coaching, has handled these 25 games. I agree. I think it was a tough hill to climb for sure. I do think that you're under the microscope so much more because of the 25 games. I think in many ways, this gave the front office, the coaching staff, the players, I think it pulled off a little bit of that safety net and said, hey, what are you going to do? Some people have sank, some people have swim. I think because of this, now the front office sees the guys who are going to be real NBA players for this team, and they see the guys who aren't. They also see maybe there's a lack of coaching that needs to happen. Maybe all the coaching stuff is less of Taylor's fault or the coaching staff's fault, and is more of what the front office wants them to do. I don't know. But I do know that sometimes you can kill a player's confidence. Whether you want to blame it on the coaching staff or not, I don't care. It doesn't matter. You can kill a player's confidence by saying, hey, we're going to DNP you, such as the craziness of you're going to DNP Conchar and X, but then 2 games later, you're going to start X, and then the first guy off the bench is Conchar. It doesn't make sense.
I'm glad you brought this up. This was the only thing that I was so mad about for tonight. It's effing unforgivable.
It is.
Dude, to play those two dudes against the Rockets on a game that you actually could win.
You could have won that game.
And then you come back and you play them against the Thunder when everyone knows you're going to get your ass kicked. What are we doing, man?
I don't know.
Like, what do you like? And there's this whole thing we're going to boost their trade value. Like, I was convinced those guys are getting moved because it's the only reason. If they're sitting there like trying to boost their trade, like, dog, what are we doing? Are you kidding me? And this whole thing is idea. Like, listen, Taylor, everybody can get mad about Taylor stuff. Dude, there's zero chance he does that without the front office telling him.
That's my thing.
Like, listen, you can be mad. I think you can be mad at the front office. But for Taylor, that's the one thing I'm like, dude, that's not on him. You're sitting there trying to boost trade value of guys that are freaking floaters.
Yeah.
That's all they are.
Yeah.
They're the worst kind of shit there is. It's floating on top of the water. It's just terrible, dude. Like, and I can't come up with a reason that's okay. So, like, listen, as far as moves the front office could have made after Adams went down, I'm like, dude, what was out there? Honestly, like, people get mad about that. I'm like, what do you want them to do?
Yeah, I agree with that.
People get so mad about stuff. And listen, I wasn't worried about anything the first 25 games until Adams was out. Once Adams was out, I was like, dude, they are in trouble. That's going to be tough. And then Smart got hurt, and then Kennard got hurt. And I'm like, there's not much the front office could have done as far as that goes. If you want to talk about them missing in that draft, of course. It's all been a miss. Zaire was a miss. Jake was a miss. Roddy can contribute, but between him and Jake, that's a total bust of a draft. 100%. As far as what they could have done this offseason, whatever. Them deciding we're gonna play Jake and Zaire, bro. Zero reason. Yeah. Zero reason to do that in games that were winnable. And so if you're pissed about that as a Grizz fan, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So, yeah, it's pretty unforgivable. I want them to cut Jake because I don't know what can you trade him for?
Yeah.
You have to pay teams to take him. So, I think if they're wanting to open up some roster spots, maybe bring Noel back on, cut Jake. People keep saying, oh, he's dead money. Okay. What else is he? He's dead money no matter what you do.
All right. I would not make any move to hurt your future. I'm talking dead money, whatever. What's the worst that happens? We suck this year. We already suck this year right now. The only way that this team can be good is if Ja is incredible. And he is incredible. But at what point, like, does that help you? Like, you're going to possibly get into the playoffs as a play-in, right? Okay, awesome. But if you make moves now that hurt your future, you're just prolonging the inevitable. Like, it's just you're just the snowball is getting bigger and bigger. So I understand that people are I know people are already mad about Jenkins and the front office. And I just saw a stupid people are still talking about polls. Who do you think's been the worst besides injuries, Jenkins or our two-star players? Listen, anytime you have your best player go out, and then you have a culmination of $100 million sitting on the bench for 75% of the first 25 games, you're not going to be good. I don't care how good Dez and Jaren are. I don't care how good your coach is. You have to have these young guys step up. What happened is these young guys, they aren't good. And we see that. And so realistically, it might have helped the Grizzlies because if they would have been okay along with Ja, it might have made them okay next year. But realistically, we see they're not going to be good NBA players.
Truth be told, like, if you want to sit there and say Jenkins hasn't maximized what's there, like 100%. He's had some rotations that made zero sense. I was peeved last game because I thought they had a chance to really get some momentum, and he decided to sub Jaren out, stick with his rotations, and it tanked from there. Is bad. At the same time, he is showing up to a grenade fight with a switchblade spork.
Right.
It's it's trash. So yeah, has he not been good? Yeah. But it's like, I think if Jenkins coached perfectly during this stretch, they might have 9 wins.
I agree. Well, not even perfectly. I think if they would have used the right rotations, if they would have.
I think absolute perfect world with this roster, they're at 10 wins.
Okay, yes. Okay, I'll give you that because there's not been many.
10.
Not many.
Just 10 and 15. So it's like, I'm just not gonna sit here and be all mad about it.
No,
I'm just not. Like, the only thing I'm mad about is having to watch them play freaking Jake LaRavia and Zaire Williams for now we know zero actual reason.
Yeah.
The only reason was like they were saying like maybe boost trade value or something, which, dude, they actually lost value. You found a way to make Jake LaRavia lose value somehow watching those games. So it's
I want to hit one more comment because Chris, me and Chris always disagree, which is fun to me. He's saying we haven't got blown out much this season for what it's worth. Okay. They have failed to close and a lot, maybe not all points to Jenkins. Okay. Well, let me just be honest with you. Tonight, it's not that bad, right? If you look at the score was under 20 points. That's not really necessarily a blowout. It was a blowout. It was like they didn't try, didn't care. They could have beat the Grizzlies by 50 if they would have tried. Most of these games in the NBA, a 12-plus point win, it's pretty much a blowout because you were probably up by a lot and you could have put the foot on the pedal and you just let them kind of creep back in. Like, honestly, nobody, no coach is going to have this team any much better. Okay. Yeah. The front office has sucked. The coaching staff has sucked. The role players have sucked. The only two people that haven't really sucked has been Jaren and Bane. And Jaren's struggled at times and Bane has struggled at times. But that's going to happen. Even no matter how good they are, they're going to struggle at times. No matter what, this team will be good once Ja gets back tomorrow night. There's so many issues when you have so many people hurt.
But see, this is something that I don't like. Me and Chris agree on a lot. I think this is one thing I don't agree with them on. But just because it's a lot comes down to having the horses. I feel like being able to close games out comes down to having the players. And then they don't. They don't have guys that can make the shot. Yeah. And they have so many guys that are just non-threats that they can just sell out on Dez. They can sell out on Jaren. And so when you get to the end of the games, like so much of it was just like when Ja was first coming into the league, they couldn't close out those games. And all of a sudden they could because they were starting to know how to. And Ja's their closer. I think Dez could close if he wasn't surrounded by Shane's YMCA All-Stars. Yeah. I think Dez could close. Jerry's out. Maybe could happen. But like, dude, talked about Santi at the beginning of the show. Like if Santi's not going to make shots for you, he's a negative in every other respect of the game. He'll go up and he'll grab a rebound, but someone's taking that thing from him.
Yeah.
Right? Like X is just constantly a step behind right now, right? It's just like you don't have anything, man. You don't have anything.
Your pantry is barren.
It's going to be, well, the good news is I think what might happen is they're either going to be good enough that they make the play in when Ja's back. They can bring Smart in, Kennard in.
Please tell me
those either good enough to make the play in, or Ja's going to make everyone look good enough. You can all of a sudden trade them and then still get a good draft pick.
Well, the issue is when Ja gets back, they go, yeah, but we saw those guys without Ja and they sucked.
Yeah, so that's what do you do? Dude, do you know how stupid a lot of people are that are in charge of things? They'll like same thing. We drafted Jake LaRavia. We traded up to draft Jake LaRavia. There's a lot of dudes who get cute. Like the only one you can't trade with is Danny Ainge and Masai. Those are the only two dudes you can't trade with. Other than that, you can make some moves. So, like, again, it's rough. But, like, it's just, let's just enjoy what we have coming tomorrow with Ja. Because, like, the rest of this is, like, there's no use even being mad about it.
Right.
There really isn't. It sucks. It sucks, but all the players suck.
True. All right. Let's hear real quick. I've tried to put up some of these comments. I thought they were actually very, very funny. I don't have an update on Smart or Kennard. I don't even believe Kennard's with the team right now, if I'm being honest. So I'm not sure. I know he's back in Memphis.
He was on the bench.
He was?
Somebody said so. I don't.
Okay. Well, that's good. I know he's at the Memphis games last week. All right, real quick. Jenkins had his press conference. We're going to hear this. We're going to comment on that if we got a comment or two, and then we're going to get into our second segment because we are running over already. I know we don't want to be here. It's not going to be a long night because we do have a back-to-back as well. And so let's hear from Jenkins real quick.
Super happy for GG. You always remember when you get your first NBA bucket. Group was really excited for him. But the guy's been taking full advantage of his opportunity. Obviously, been playing a lot with the hustle. His work habits have been phenomenal. With all the reports we're getting, from the G League staff, he's had a positive spirit. There's been ups and downs, like any team goes through, to start the G League season with injuries and new players on the team getting acclimated with his teammates. He's been a phenomenal teammate. He's got a positive spirit, as I said, and then he's just taking on the challenges day in and day out, making the right reads on the offensive side. He's shooting the ball well, and then defensively, he's taking on the challenges, whether it's on-ball assignments, off-ball assignments, the film work that he's been doing. He's been taking substantial steps in his early career and his development opportunities, and obviously excited to see him get that opportunity tonight. And we'll see what happens moving forward, but just been really impressed with everything he's been doing with the hustle so far.
I think early in the game, it's one of the first few possessions. Jaren gets the ball, turns over his left shoulder. There's two guys there, goes back to the right. He's seeing like 3-4 guys around him. Is there a hope that starting tomorrow, you kind of, see less of those type of looks with Ja being back in the lineup?
I don't know. Only time will tell. I mean, obviously, I think teams have, scouted us, first, 25 games of the season and seeing how he's been able to dominate from, different spots of the floor. Just been really impressed. I know he only had one assist, but he had, he was trying to make the right play. I think he had a couple turnovers, trying to pass out to an open guy, just couldn't connect, with his teammate there. We said at halftime teams were throwing 2-3 guys at him and just making the simple play. We'll see, if they continue to do that, that's going to open up more teammates. We're trusting the reads that he's making, and if they don't, hopefully he punishes them. So we'll see. Obviously, getting Ja back tomorrow is going to give us a different look in a lot of different ways, and we'll just got to see how teams are going to throw things at him, at Dez, at JJ, the rest of our group.
Super happy. All right, for, real quick. So GG. First things first is Joshua. Man, that comment is very funny. Did they get GG the ball? I wish they would have. If you don't know what you're talking about, it's the Bucks, Pacers. Pacers were being pretty petty about it, and they went to make sure they got the ball, so they didn't give Giannis the ball. But anything out of that you heard, Nate, that just kind of wowed you? That's a lot of coach speak. It was high praise of GG in a sense of just talking about what he's done and putting in the work down and at the hustle.
No. There was nothing said there that mattered. But also, I bring up Robert's comment right here because we hear this a lot. And I get frustrated too when there's something that's actually a good question that you can dig into and Taylor gives you some word salad. But I feel like people get so mad about this stuff. And I'm like, what do you want him to say? The players suck. He can't go out there and just say, hey, these guys suck. So we lost.
Yeah. Yep.
But also to an extent, the Rockets game, yeah, there's things you could have done better, but people don't ask them the questions to actually answer there either. Dude, tonight there's nothing to say, but the players suck.
Yeah.
So Robert, 100%. There's a lot of word salad that comes out of Taylor. But on nights like tonight, I'm like, people are like, he said a bunch of nothing. I'm like, there's nothing to say. The fact we've made 35 minutes out of this is a Christmas miracle. What are we I mean, at a certain point, so you just gotta not be mad about certain things. Sometimes things are just bad. There's no one to blame.
What I did like about that is they I think that sounded like DeMichael Cole. I'm not sure exactly, but he was asking about, because everybody, this is kind of what we're going to talk about in the next segment real quick is Jaren going to be able to be still as dominant on the interior as he has been when Ja comes back? What I love out of that is that he didn't say, yeah, we're going to work on that. We're going to try to force that. We're going to whatever. He literally gave you nothing, absolutely nothing. And I love that more than anything because it says, I don't know, I'm not going to tip my hand. And that lets me know that they're going to try to do that, because if not, he would have said, we'll get back to where we were playing. We'll let, Jaren do this, blah, blah, blah. No, he just didn't say anything, which I actually love, because then it just says, hey, we're going to try to get him back into the post again and try to work it out, because they will. Dude, Chris is hating, man. He's hating. All right, let's get to the break real quick. After this, I have a very, very good trivia question that Nate will feel like
get
a
to the commercial.
complete
I don't care.
idiot.
I don't care.
That he won't get it, and he's going to be mad, and all of you will.
Because I think everyone is saying that Ja's the best player we ever had.
Correct.
Are we ready to put Bane? Where are we putting Bane at?
So I think that he is a top 3 offensive player ever in the franchise.
Right. Easy.
And the reason I give him top 3 is because Zebo was a bad dude. Offensively, like everything. He was one of my favorite Grizzlies ever. He might be my favorite Grizzly. Yeah. Bane is right there with him now already. So.
But if you're putting an all-time Grizzly starting 5, is he your shooting guard or are you going Tony Allen?
100% I'm going Bane. I hated Tony Allen.
I appreciate Tony Allen and what he did.
100%.
But the whole Tony Allen run, like the fan response to him and like the levels we put him in, I was like, I'm sorry, y'all, love y'all, but I don't look at Tony the way y'all do.
This is going to be terrible. And it's going to be slanderous, but you're going to love it. He is a better defensive John Conchar.
Oh, stop. Stop. Whoa. No.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Yo, we are the Grizz 101 post-game show presented to you by Bluff City Media. What are you laughing
please
about?
Get a different commercial? I don't want to have to listen to you say that TA is a better defensive John Conchar anymore. I don't want to hear
their
it anymore.
offense is the same. I would honestly probably take Conchar's offense.
But one has gotten praise from Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, and many others.
He's one of the best defensive players. Yes, 100%.
Okay, Daniel, that's like saying, yeah, like Tom Brady's just a better football thrower than me.
I don't even know what that means.
I might be faster than Tom Brady. I might be more agile than Tom Brady. Technically Tom Brady's just a better passer than me.
Yeah.
It's stupid, Daniel.
It's not stupid. It's great content.
It's gross. It's not good content. It's gross. I hate it. I'm trying to be like have some self-respect on this show, and here you
All right, let's get to Grizz trivia.
Trash. It's filth.
All right, let's get to the Grizz trivia real quick. This is one that Nate I guarantee will feel stupid that he doesn't get it. This is a Memphis Grizzlies, nothing to do with Vancouver. Are you ready, Nate?
Whatever.
If you have any of this, if in the comments, turn your comments off, Nate. But if you have the answer, please let me know if you have it, because Nate will not. All right, the Memphis Grizzlies have had one player ever in the franchise to be a player of the month. Blew my mind as well. They've only had one player ever to be a player of the month. Who was that player, Nate?
The Grizzlies have had one player in franchise history be player of the month.
One. Listen, I thought it was wrong. I went back and I Googled and literally every single place gave me the exact same answer. So if I'm wrong, I would love to know. But because I think it's wrong. But there has been one Memphis Grizzlies NBA player to ever be a player of the month.
Ja.
And it's not Ja Morant. That's shocking to me.
Mark?
Not Marc Gasol.
No way.
I swear on my life. Both of those guys
it's
were
not Powell again, is it right? It's not Powell.
It's not Powell.
Okay, I'm gonna say
listen,
I
believe this. We're the only franchise to ever only have one. I think everybody else has two or more.
That can't be right.
And who's your answer? It's Zebo.
Okay.
Zach Randolph in 2010, 2011 was the January All-Star. January All-Star. That's crazy to me. Is that not that Ja has never been a player of the month?
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, because they've had player of the weeks. And the funny thing is like Ja in 21-22 was the player of the week in January, the first 2 weeks of January, but then didn't make the player of the month. But like, there's so many on here.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
So I thought that was a good one. I found that one. I was like, all right.
That is pretty good, actually. That was a not lame one. Shout out to you.
Let's end the show. This is great.
Please.
All right, let's talk about the Grizzlies real quick. And so we're going to hit on this, and then I do have some notes on the Pelicans. And so we will hit on that real quick. As Chardina said, no shot. That's right. That's wild. I agree. I hope somebody else tells me
also,
or finds there's an answer.
Guess what's already started?
Oh, my God. What?
Why didn't they play Gigi sooner?
Shut up.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. It's out there. It's out there.
All right. Listen, Grizz Twitter is just like straight chaos 24/7. All right, let's get to the Grizzlies and
saying over Jake. I'm all here for.
Oh, GG over most anybody over Jake.
I'm with Chris. His new nickname's Dead Money. Jaravia and J Rabbit are done. Dead Money. That's all we're going to talk about from now on.
All right, let's get to the Grizzlies and kind of what we're expecting to happen within this team. What's your thoughts or expectations on Marcus Smart coming back tomorrow?
I feel like we would have gotten a doubtful before if he was coming back tomorrow.
Okay.
Feels like he's coming back against maybe next week, I would guess. Maybe later in the week. But usually they give you a doubtful before that and then bring him back. So I don't think he's coming back. I'd be surprised if he came back tomorrow. As much of a bummer as that is, I just don't think he's ready yet.
Yeah, listen, I don't think he comes back as well tomorrow, but if he does, I'm telling you, I love this gamesmanship. If it is, I'm a big gamesmanship guy. Like, hey, we're not going to show any of our cards. I'm not going to tell you anything about Jaren and Ja. You already know Ja's coming back. All right, that game plan's already out there, because obviously Ja is Ja. But then, hey, pretty much our biggest rival in a sense of we're both young, we're both trying really hard to be good, but neither one of our franchises have had major success within the Pelicans and the Grizzlies, and on a championship, type level. But then you bring back Smart the same night. I know that they're all professionals and they would be able to figure it out. But if you were to, for some reason, all of a sudden he's healthy and it's good to go, that would be pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that's going to happen, just because that's not the way this franchise kind of moves for the most part. Let's get to the rest of, I guess, the players surrounding them. Okay, let's talk about them. Let's come back to Ja, Jaren, and Bane, because I think that's understood. I think we get a Bismack Biyombo game for sure. I think the soreness I think he'll be back for tomorrow night.
Let's be really clear on what you mean by a Bismack Biyombo game. You mean that he plays in the game, right?
He will wear his uniform.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're not sitting here saying, hey, we're going to get like the Bismack Biyombo game, because that's not happening, right? I think we can all agree that's not happening.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's happening. I do think we need Bismack for the simple fact that, one of my stats within the Pelicans has been that, they out rebound almost every team they play against. It's crazy how well they rebound. But I think Bismack gets back, and I think he does help this team. But one thing that we know that Bismack and Ja have not played together outside of practice. And so that'll be interesting to see that.
If you're Bismack Biyombo, it's still the easiest game you've played all year.
For sure.
Set a high screen and then go towards the basket.
Right. All right, so let's ask the other question about this team. Okay, so tomorrow night you have the book, right? You have the pen. You have Ja coming back, right? Bismack Biyombo is back. Smart, Kennard, none of them are back though. Okay, yep. So you pretty much have your starting five with the Bug. I saw that nickname. I thought that was good. The Bug, Vince Williams, Volkswagen Bug. Okay, and so you have those five players. Well, how deep are you going? Are you going into the 8 to 10, and then who are the other guys?
Let's take a look at the roster, Daniel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, I bet they go 10 deep. I would go 9 max, I think.
Who are your 9?
I think you got 1, maybe 10. Hold on. I don't think I included Ja. Ja, Jaren, Dez, Vince, Biz.
That's 5.
Santi, Roddy, Conchar. Did I say X?
No.
X. So I think 9.
Wow.
And maybe some Gilliard minutes too. So I would say 9, and then I bet they go 10. I bet all those guys plus Gilliard get run. But I would say if I was thinking about it, 9.
Where's Gigi?
I like Gigi. I don't want to hate on Gigi.
It's just funny.
It's just not gonna help this team. Nothing's going to help this team outside of Ja Morant and then the actual NBA guys coming back.
For sure.
Listen, I'd much rather see him get all of Jake LaRave got 12 minutes tonight. Give Gigi 24 because he got 12 too. Like, listen, I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I do think that you're going to have, honestly, 8. I think I would go 8 probably, just to keep the team. I don't know, the chemistry there. You got to probably have to play X, man. Unfortunately, because you have to rebound with them in general. And we'll talk about a little bit them in a second. But the rest of the guys, Ja, Jaren, Bane. What do you think you see out of them? Anything weird? Anything different? You think that they'll have maybe more pick and roll with Jaren and Ja?
No, they've never run pick and roll with Jaren and Ja. Like they'll use Biz or X or whoever else, but they've never run a pick and roll with Jaren and Ja. They just can't figure it out. So
yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's take our third segment real quick. Let's hit our commercial break, and then we'll be right back in 1 minute.
People have this thing like, "Oh, I'm keeping the receipts, and I'm gonna remember who said this." We wasn't lying.
I get. Yeah. So that's one. I've reached a point where like anything you say on Twitter, I can ignore it.
Right.
Like I'm not promising you I'll never pop back at somebody. Sometimes I do. I might today, but I often don't. I would say for every 50 negative comments I get, I might reply to 1. I don't get involved.
I'm getting there too, man.
Yeah, but you don't look like you're getting there. I see you arguing all day long every day. You gotta wait there, man. You got a ways to go.
Well, I might get more. Well, I don't get as many as you.
Well, how about this? And I'm not saying you have to get there. I'm just saying I am there. There are different ways to handle social media. I just found it to be largely unproductive. Right. But
I do it for calisthenics sometimes.
Right,
like I don't feel no way. I just okay. Let me just engage in this just for fun.
Yeah. Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
All right, real quick, for those that are wondering, DeMichael Cole just put out a tweet and says, for those that are intrigued, Gigi Jackson did not get the game ball. So just so everybody's aware on the same page. But yeah, shout out to Anthony Sane and his show live on Wednesdays and Fridays at noon. This Wednesday, he will be live and I will be on the show. And it might be live, maybe. We're trying to figure out the details. Because he wants to be on there and not have his old information, because they do record on Tuesday night and then be able to clip everything. But they're going to try to go live on Wednesday, and I am supposed to be there. So that's the plan. So make sure you tune in live Wednesday at noon. Let's get to this game real quick. So I looked at some of the stats and that the Pelicans have. And honestly, like the Grizzlies are right there with them on majority of the stats. Like if you're looking at, points per paint in the game, 45 to 52. Like it's not that far off. Total rebounds per game, 51.9 to 52.7. Like there's not a big gap between a lot of their stats in general compared to the Grizzlies. But honestly, like if you look at their rebounding, the numbers will tell you that they do not have a big rebounding advantage. But if you go back and look at every single game, they out rebound almost every team they play. And so it's crazy. And it's one of those teams that is going to play big, and they have had injuries. And so that's probably why the stats show that maybe they aren't as far from the Grizzlies in their rebounding numbers, but they've had injuries. And when they're healthy, which they are right now, they're going to rebound at a high level. And so the Grizzlies have to be able to rebound with them tomorrow night. How are they going to do that, Nate?
They're not, but they can still get in the paint to score. Like they don't have the guys to rebound with them. The good news is you have the guys to make it kind of hard. Like Brandon Ingram has kind of killed the Grizzlies in the past, but I think the Grizzlies have a really long, really good wing defender now, and Vince Williams playing. That if anybody's going to give him trouble as far as the Grizzlies go, it's going to be Vince. So that's really good for them to have. I think it has to be sort of what they have done in spurts with some gang rebounding. I mean, the entire team crashing the boards, right? Putting a body on someone, but they're just not a good rebounding team. Like whoever was saying earlier, their IQ is just like in the dozens between all five of whoever's on the court, right? Like it's just not great. So there's too many times where a guy doesn't put a body on someone, they crash the board, and meanwhile their guy just sneaks in right behind them to get the board. So I don't have much faith in them doing well rebounding tomorrow night, but I do think they are still able to get in the paint and make some trouble for New Orleans. Just generally speaking, with Ja back, you get in the paint and score because the Pelicans are not some kind of defensive powerhouse, right? So
exactly.
They can score on Jonas. Zion has not been a good NBA defender so far into his career, and you just got to hope that they emptied the clip from three. They shot like 52% their last game, I think, against the Spurs. You just got to hope they emptied the clip there and they miss a bunch of threes because you can score in the paint on them. You can keep them from getting into the paint and scoring a bunch. They miss a bunch of threes, you give yourself a shot. So push, they're going to get a jolt of energy from Ja being back. But as far as rebounding goes, I think the Grizzlies are probably just going to lose that. You just got to hope that they miss a lot of their outside shots off those offensive rebounds.
Yeah. So the last game, the Grizzlies lost by 7, 111-104 is the second game of the season. They were out rebounded 52-37 by 15. The Grizzlies shot 12 of 43 from deep. Wow. Yeah. The Pelicans shot 14 of 32. So they shot 11 less and made 2 more. That I think that if you look at how to beat the Pelicans is you have to get downhill. You have to get into the paint. You have to keep the rebounding edge not being that great with them. And honestly, you can't get beat by that many and have that big of a swing in the 3-point number. That's not a lot to ask. I know that they have they have a really good team. Zion's really good. Ingram, all of them are very, very good. But Ja is back, and I think Ja's going to want to show a little bit. I'm just curious if he has a little rust. We'll see. But as we'll end on this one, Chris is asking, over under 2.5 bodies Ja catch this week. I thought it said this game, and I was going to go under on the game, but this week?
I'm going under. I got the number at 2. Due to my unique algorithm.
Oh my God. So three games this week. So you have the Pelicans, Pacers, and the Hawks. He could catch all of that in the Pacers game because that game is going to be a just crazy track, like up and down. That's going to be fun to watch. These next 2 games are going to be very, very good. And as Joshua says, he's under past when he comes back. Potentially, Ja always has a great first game when he starts the season. This is the start of the season, so I'm curious. Anything else you have before we wrap it up before Ja comes back tomorrow night?
Nope, we're 10 minutes over what I wanted to be. Let's go.
That's all we have tomorrow night. If you're not joining us, you're missing out. Tomorrow will be probably our biggest show numbers wise. I think it'll be one of our best. Jessica Benson will be joining us midway through on the show. I have a very good Grizzlies trivia question for her. And so I'm going to ask her instead of you, Nate. It goes way, way back into the archive. But it'll be a very good one. So hope you all join us there. It will be a fun show. It'll be a show that we can kind of just everybody's thinking of, kind of like Christmas morning when you have Ja coming back to this team. But that's all we have. We'll see y'all tomorrow night. Be nice and tell your friends.